Export. This is Color Software speaking. My name is Dietrich von Seggern. I'm sitting here with my colleague Mark Heusmann.
Hello, also from me.
And we are happy that you're here. And for another webinar that we are doing, and that is related to some new ISO standards, and the main thing is to a new version of pdfaPilot that we have released, the version 4 that we have published a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think before you start, I'm just seeing a lot of people are still getting involved into our web meeting, and so maybe before you start with a real presentation, maybe we should wait 1 or 2 minutes more.
Yeah. So I'm just seeing that too. So welcome again. So from Color Software. We are waiting a bit because still attendees are joining the web session. I can start already with showing my screen to you. So you should be able to see the first slide of a presentation that I have prepared for today. So the webinar session is about new ISO standards. So we need to do also some theory. I want to explain to you what these ISO standards are, and then we will also have some practical parts where I want to show you how the new standards have been implemented into pdfaPilot. So as always, when we release a new version of pdfaPilot, we think and analyze what use has been done with respect to ISO standards, and we try to put as much as we can into the new features of pdfaPilot. Okay, we are still seeing more people coming in. But anyway, I think we have done a similar session this morning in German. So that was slightly longer than 60 minutes. So don't be afraid. I try to make it as interesting as possible. But I would want to start anyway right now. So first, my colleague is here, Mark, and please do not hesitate. I think most of you already know there is a question section in the GoToWebinar control panel, so do not hesitate to just enter any question that you might have, or if I forget something or whatever, just let us know. We will answer either immediately in the answer features of GoToWebinar, or also to all of you when just Mark interrupts my presentation. So anyway, first is about pdfaPilot. pdfaPilot is a new standard part of the pdfa standard. So I think most of you already know the pdfa standard for archiving of PDF files. And this is just another standard part. This is what I call the family photo of the pdfa standard parts. We have PDF1, PDF2, and PDF3. And the headline of PDF3 is actually use of ISO 32000 with support for embedded files. So as you can see, the main thing in pdfaPilot is embedded files. But first, I think I need to explain a little bit what these different standards are for. So pdfa1 actually came out in 2006, and that is by far the most frequently used pdfa standard. Many companies and organizations worldwide are using it in order to convert PDF files or any other files into archivable formats. and that is good, and that can be done in the future and whenever. So PDFA1 will remain valid, and there is no need to modify or change to any other part of PDFA if there are projects and they are using PDFA1. That's just fine. PDFA2 is just based on a newer version of the PDF specification. So while PDFA1 was based on PDF 1.4, that corresponds to Acrobat 5, PDF2 is based on PDF 1.7, which actually was also introduced as an ISO standard, and that is actually ISO 32000. So PDFA2 is newer, and it allows for some things that were not permitted in PDFA1, like transparency or embedded files or layers. And so whenever an organization would just start using PDFA, it makes sense to start with PDFA2, because that is simply just some things that may be occur in a PDF file does not need to be converted for PDFA2, while, for instance, transparency would have to be converted for PDFA1. And while ISO was discussing about PDFA2 and the feature mainly about embedding, or the ability to embed files into a PDFA2 file, organizations came and said, okay, we want to embed something else. So, for instance, an organization said, okay, we want to embed our XML file. So we have the need to automatically process some things. We want to have a reliable PDF file so that everybody can read what is inside and what's about. But in addition, we want to embed an XML structure into the PDF file. And that was actually the moment when ISO started thinking about PDFA3. So PDFA3 is exactly the same as PDFA2, with the one difference that PDFA3 allows for embedding any any file format. So if you want, you can say my PDFA3 file is a shell, and this shell is reliable and archivable, so it's just PDFA, but it has attachments that are not PDFA and that are just any file formats. And of course, for these files format, it's questionable whether they are qualified for an archive, so they are not PDFA, and that needs to be determined. And that is, I think, the most important thing that has to be said about PDFA3. It's not an excuse for just putting any file format into the archive. It's just an additional ability, but it requires processes and defined flows in order to make sure that only certain exceptions of this PDFA rule will show up in the archive. I will have some more examples for that later in this presentation. Some technical things about PDFA3. So PDFA3 is exactly the same as PDFA2, but non-PDFA attachments are permitted. And in addition, PDFA3 requires that that the relationship between the embedded file and the main file is defined. So relationship may either be the source. So for instance, I have an Excel spreadsheet with all the formulas and so in it, and I want to have a reliable file from my archive, so I would create a PDFA file from that. But in order to be able to also read the formulas and so, and whatever is in the cells of my spreadsheet, that is not just the appearance that I would see in the PDFA file, I would then just embed the Excel spreadsheet into the pdfa3 file. And then the relationship between the Excel spreadsheet and the PDFA file would be source. It could also be alternative, it could be data, it could be supplement, or you can even say it's unspecified. So these are the predefined kinds of relationship as defined in the standard, but the standard does also say that you may just invent and use your own kinds of relationships. So this is not a closed list, it's an open list, and that may be extended in any project that somebody does. So in addition to that, it is required that there is an indication in the PDFA file to which part of it the embedded file belongs. So whether it belongs to the whole document, and then there needs to be an entry on the document level, or to a certain page, to an object on a page, so for instance an image, to a comment or to a form field, or to a structure element. So this is an intact PDF, so that may be an article or a column in a text or something, or a headline. So these are actually parts of the PDF file to which an embedded file may belong, and pdfa3 requires that for each and every file that is embedded into pdfa3 file, that there is an indication to which part it belongs. And then there are additional options. So this is not mandatory. You have the option also to enter a description for each file that you embed, and you may of course also use XMP metadata. Okay. But now lots of theory. Let's now talk about scenarios that one may think of, and one would be, as I've said before, I have an Excel spreadsheet or a Word file. I want to create a PDFA file for my archive, but I want to make sure that, or I want to allow for later editing of the file, and so I would just embed the original file into the pdfa3 file. So that would be kind of, yeah, my file is my archive, so my editable file comes with an archivable file together, so it's kind of a hybrid PDF, and it's always possible to open the embedded original file, to edit it, to modify it, and then just save a new PDFA shell if you want, and embed the original file into the PDFA shell. So as you can see, that already makes sense, and in an ideal world it would be available in an editing application. So why shouldn't an Office application or so not just save, while I say save this file, it gives me the option to also create a PDFA file and embed the original file into the shell. But that is today, it's not real world, so it's just an idea. So, but this could be used, for instance, for business documents. So I have a reliable file exchange. I have always my PDFA file, and that will guarantee looks the same on each and every computer. I can always put that into the archive, but it's still possible to edit or modify. So for instance, if I have an agreement, I can exchange the agreement while it's being worked on between departments in my organization or so, and I can always still modify, but I can also say at any point, okay, this is now final, I'm just signing it and sending it back. So, but that's enough of theory. Let's just look how that would work in pdfaPilot. So I'm going to a Windows computer that I have here. I have open pdfaPilot 4 here. I have one more thing. This is the PDFA in one click window here, and there I can simply select which standard I would want to use. So I can go for pdfaPilot, and then it would convert files to pdfaPilot or pdfaPilot or whatever. So there is already that is already pdfaPilot enabled, but this is, it would just take a file and PDF file and convert it to pdfaPilot, so that wouldn't have to do with embedding files. So now let's go to the switchboard, and there is a PDFA section. There I can also do PDFA, but I can also use this Office to PDFA feature, and that one I want to do right now. So I go here, and then I can select a file from my file system. So I'm using an Excel spreadsheet right now. I'm opening it, and I'm selecting the level. So I can go for pdfaPilot, or let's first select pdfaPilot, and then I see here is a checkbox. It's grayed out right now, and that source file, and that doesn't make sense because pdfaPilot wouldn't allow me to embed source files. But if I go to pdfaPilot, that is enabled, and I can check this check mark and tell the application, okay, embed the original file as source file into the newly created pdfaPilot file. So I'm just executing that right now, and it has already converted the Excel spreadsheet into PDF, and I can now save the result into my result folder. It's not the first time that I'm doing it, so I'm overwriting a previous result, and I have now the Excel spreadsheet embedded into the PDF file, and it's a pdfaPilot file. So I can click on this button over here at the bottom, and it says, yeah, that's indeed pdfaPilot, and I can also open that in my default PDF application, which is Acrobat in this case, and I'm doing that just in order to show you that the Excel spreadsheet is indeed here, and I can double click it, and this is a German version, but it simply, basically it tells me, okay, I can now open the file, or I'm giving the permission to all files of this type and so forth, but I'm canceling this right now, and I'm going back. So this is what I have said. Okay, I could of course do the very same thing with the Word file, with whatever files I could convert with pdfaPilot. Yes?
Okay, here comes an interesting question right to the thing you have simply shown. Which Acrobat versions is necessary to open pdfaPilot with attachments?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Actually, it is. Actually, I'm not sure, just sure. So, but you can definitely use the reader. So you wouldn't. I have used the Acrobat Professional here, but you could do the same with Adobe Reader. And embedded files, I think, are they were introduced with PDF 1.5. That means Acrobat 6. So I would get, my guess would be at least Acrobat 6 or Adobe Reader 6.
So quite old versions. So yeah, everyone should have a newer one, especially from the reader on his machine.
Yeah. And also important in this context, you can also use other viewers, like from other organizations, not from Adobe. Most of them, even in the free versions, are supporting embedded files. Okay, let's just go back to the slides. And this is another scenario. So what we have seen, okay, I have a source file and a PDFA shell around it. But this is, let's think about a dossier folder where I have several attachments, a folder structure. So just a couple of documents that I want to keep together in, yeah, a folder. So complex information, various file formats, and usually up until now I would possibly have exchanged that with other people in my organization as a zip archive with folder hierarchies and files in it and so. And I can now just use pdfA for that with a main file into which all the documents that belong to this folder are attached. If you would save a pdfA file, usually everything that is embedded would be compressed, so it wouldn't be bigger than the zip archive that we have used before, but you have this nice pdfA main file with all the attachments. So, and you can make exceptions. So if it's a drawing for construction or something and you want to embed the 3D CAD file in the original file format together with whatever marketing information or so is related into just one folder, that is possible. So it's a hybrid approach, and it just allows you to take the best of all worlds, to stick to pdfA wherever it makes sense, but to have kind of an exception where you have spreadsheet or CAD drawing or the like that you will also want to embed. Important to understand, and as I've said before, this shouldn't be an excuse to just embed anything, but usually to embed those files that have additional information that cannot be translated into the two-dimensional PDF appearance. So a classic example for that would be an email with lots of attachments. So you would convert every attachment that can be converted to pdfA. You would convert that, but if there is something else, you would just put that as well into the archive. Or drawings, as I said, for architecture, projects, engineering, construction, and so forth. These are good examples. In general, so file formats from various sources. And I just want to show you how that would work in pdfaPilot. So I'm closing these windows. Okay. And what is possible right now, I have here another folder with 2 Word files. And I can now simply drag this folder onto the pdfaPilot canvas, and it comes up with a dialog. This is new in pdfaPilot 4. And it lets me create a dossier, meaning embedding all files, do no conversion, just do pdfa3. I can also say create an archive, convert everything to pdfa, and skip files that cannot be converted. So I don't know, a CAD drawing or so. I can also say create an archive, convert all files to pdfa if possible, and embed files that cannot be converted. So in that case, a Word file, an Excel spreadsheet, everything would be converted, but the CAD drawing wouldn't be converted and would simply be embedded into the pdfa3 file. And I can say create an archive as pdfa3, convert all the files to pdfa as well, but in addition, embed the original file into the converted result. So I would have a 2-level embedding in that case. So if I would have an Excel spreadsheet here, the Excel spreadsheet would be converted into pdfa, would be embedded, and the Excel spreadsheet would be embedded into the embedded pdfa file. I think it's clear, so I know it sounds complex, but so anyway, let's just go for the first option. Let's just create pdfa3. So we're here for pdfa3, and so what we have now, we have a pdfaPilot has created an index file on which all the files are being listed. It lists up the Word files here. I can open the file here. I have some links here that would actually jump to the files. Acrobat wouldn't allow me to, because it's pdfaPilot3 here. Yeah. So no, that's one thing I wanted to show. Another option is I have a PDF file open here. And if I would now drag the folder onto this file, and if I go for pdfA2 right now, it would convert the files, the Word files, to pdfA2 right now, and it asks me where to save the result. I'm saving that into my results folder, and it finally validates the package whether it's compliant with pdfA3. So now I have my two PDF files. PDFA the Word files have been embedded into PDFA, and it tells me the relationship is unspecified in this case, and I have a package right now. And if I click on the green button here, it analyzes the package, and it says, okay, all the files are compliant with pdfA2. One more thing. I can also go to the switchboard and do the same from here. So I can say embedded files, and I can create a file package from here, and I can say create pdfA3, do not convert files. I can, and then that I wanted to show, I can then specify the relationship. So I can say this data, for instance. I can select the file, the folder, so I'm using the same as before. And if I now click on execute, it allows me to specify for each of the files here whether, let's say, the one is a source and the other one is a supplement, and I can also enter a description if I want. And all of this information would go into the package then, and would, for instance, also be available in Adobe Reader also. So the description, for instance, is being displayed in the Reader as well. So, but I don't want to do that right now. I think it's clear how that works. Yes, so let's just go back to our presentation. So now it's about PDF UA. Important, the PDF UA has nothing to do with archiving. So the A in this context stands for accessibility, and UA means universal accessibility. I don't know, some of you may know there are the different conformance levels in PDFA, like PDF1B, PDFA1A or so, and the A does already require some tagging information in a PDF file, and that may be the basis also for PDFA UA. And the next part of this webinar is about accessibility, actually. And also, finally, we'll see what accessibility had to do with ebooks and EPUB. So, but first, what is PDF UA? PDF UA is a new ISO standard that has came out just, I don't know, 1 or 2 months ago. And the goal is to allow equal access to PDF content for all users, so even for handicapped users. And it defines rules, clear rules. Every content needs to have more than just one access mode. So for instance, an image should not only have the appearance of the image, but also an alternate text description, so that a screen reader could read aloud what this image is about. And all the rules are basically in order to make sure that a screen reader program that would automatically read the content of a PDF file, that such a screen reader can spit out or give good results to people that cannot read the content. So in addition, another requirement is that all text needs to be marked. So a headline needs to be marked versus a table versus continuous text. its structure information needs to be present, like hierarchical classification of headlines and continuous text and so forth, the different columns, the reading order, all of this information needs to be available. In addition to that, a Unicode representation for our text needs to be present so that, I don't know, for instance, the U here is not just the outline of a U, but also the U, the meaning of the U must be present, so because otherwise the screen reader would not be able to read this Unicode word in this example. Some more about technique. So what techniques can we use in PDF in order to make sure that a screen reader can read a PDF file? Basically, it's tagging and Unicode. And tagging is invisible information, invisible tags inside of my PDF file that mark the content and show me what this content is. So all content in the PDF file must be tagged for PDF UA. The tagging order has to correspond to the semantical order, so that the tagging order is the reading order actually. Tags have to be correct, so headlines have to be tagged as headlines, headline level must be correct, lists tagged as lists, tables as tables, and so forth. Alternate text needs to be present for all images, and important, the language needs to be specified so that a reader, a screen reader, would not read a text in German or so when it's English with a completely different pronunciation, and so language needs also to be present. This is all about tagging, and then there is Unicode, and I have already explained that. So that's about PDF UA. And important is PDF UA does not invent anything new. So it has been possible to create a tagged PDF with Unicode in the past as well. But there have been different ways to do that, and PDF UA right now defines just one way in order to create a good tagged PDF file, and that is the important thing about PDF UA. In addition to that, it needs to be said that that will always require manual work. So you need to start with the originating application, for instance, in Word or InDesign or so. You need to work with style sheets in order to make sure that a headline is really a headline, not just bold text. So you need to use style sheets in the authoring application and to export from that to PDF file with tags. And then you need to control and analyze the resulting PDF file, whether the tagged quality is good and whether there is Unicode representation and so forth. So this is nothing you could do in an automated way. As I've said before, PDF UA makes clear how you would or should tag a PDF file, and that will be the basis for better and less expensive tools for creating PDF UA files. But having that said, so we jump back, but we are here again. You may use OpenOffice, MS Office, InDesign, or lots of other applications, so it does not necessarily need or special authoring tools, but you need to make sure that your tagging structure is good and valid, and you need to analyze the results. And that is, we have introduced into pdfaPilot new features that I will show you in a minute to control and check the tagging structure. But in order to make that easy for everybody, we have also published this as a free tool. We're calling the PDF Go HTML, and that is basically just that part of pdfaPilot that deals with tagged PDF and PDF UA. So here is just part of our CLI manual. This is a special command line module of a product that we have, and we may now enter this new section of pdfaPilot switchboard tagged PDF, and I can export this file into HTML. You have seen before that we have given the free tool the name PDF Go HTML, so you can see this has something to do with HTML. And I have a couple of options here, and I say, okay, I want to visualize the tagging structure as HTML. I'm executing that, and I'm saving my result into the results folder. And it has now opened the result in my browser in Firefox. It's HTML, and I'm here in the simple view. And unfortunately, this is German here, but there is an English version available as well.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, there's also structure tags there, of course, in English, and so
this is just with my implementation here. So just don't be afraid. The PDF Go HTML as well as pdfaPilot we will use English expressions over here, and over here you will probably see something like structure tags or so, and that is the most important view here. And I can see that there is actually tagging structure in this PDF file. There is an H1 headline, which makes sense because it's the title of the document. And then I have, and that is not so nice, two empty H1 entries here, H2 manual. This is already also fine. And then I have three more H2 sections here that shouldn't be there. They are just empty. And then I have lots of P tags here, but most of them are actually empty. And that is all not allowed in PDF UA. So there's simply empty tags are not permitted in this context. So, and it contradicted to what not contradicted, but as you can see that this view should allow you to easily see whether a PDF file has been tagged at all and whether the tagging structure is good. And we can already say, okay, it has been tagged, but it's not good. So what can we do about that? We have fixed tagging problems here, and that solves a couple of issues in tagged PDF files that can automatically be solved. So, as I've said before, it will not be possible usually to always solve any issue or all issues that may be there, but some can be solved. So, for instance, an MTP tag that can simply be removed. So, and we're saving that into the results folder. It's already done. It has repaired some things here. And again, as I've said before, that may improve some things, but still it's required to manually check the quality. And I'm saving that into my results folder. Structure tags, and now I can see, okay, there is just one H1 entry over here, just one H2 for manual, and so it has fixed the problems that I have, and I can now quickly go through the document. And this is just a table of contents in this file. So in general, I would say that looks okay for now. So, and this is an important tool, we believe, in order to to work with PDF UA and create PDF UA tool files because it allows you to easily check the quality. Good. That's about PDF UA. Further information you will find on the website of the PDF Association, pdfa.org. So, but what has this to do with ebooks and EPUB? So this is obviously a completely different area of application. So from a user standpoint, it has nothing to do with each other. But from a technical standpoint, they are very close actually, because you can easily use structure, tagging information, and Unicode in order to create an ebook from a PDF file. So if there is good quality tagging information inside of a PDF file, you can use that information in order to create an EPUB file. And I have got another example here because it makes so much sense. We are using our manuals for this. So this is another part of our manual, PDF engine reference, that has lots of images here and lots of information. So this is also just a part of it. It has 700 pages. This is 283 pages. And for instance, if I go on this page and I would just make it smaller for my mobile device or so, for my smartphone, it would be different or difficult to read. Of course, I can zoom into that, but still, yeah, it doesn't make sense to read it on a small display. So it's designed, but it's nothing that I would want to read on a smartphone or on a device, any device with a small display. So I can, within the tag PDF section, I have the export as EPUB here, and I can export the PDF file into an EPUB file, and I'm just doing that. And it saves the file now as an EPUB file. I have saved it into the same folder here. It's here. And if I now double click on this file here, it opens the first page, and that one actually looks the same as before. We are just putting an image on the first page, so that the first page of the document appears the same as before. But then if I enter into later pages in my document, it shows me the images in the context where they appear, and I have now a 2 columns view here, but this is an ebook reader application, Adobe Digital Editions here. Now I have a 1 column view, and it would just adapt to whatever screen size I have. So this is a minimum screen size that this particular EPUB reader allows, but I can use any EPUB reader in the world in order to display that file. Okay. So important, I can check the tagging structure, and I can use tagging in order to create accessible PDF UA, but I can use the same tagging structure in order to create ebooks. So far, that is actually what I wanted to tell about ISO standards, what is new in ISO standards, what is reflecting that in the new pdfaPilot. Now we enter into a completely different section, and that is about distributed processing with pdfaPilot in a network. And I would just want to show you a short graphic here. this is what I want to do is I have pdfaPilot desktop here, and from here I want to manage different servers. In this example, there are three servers in my network. Each of it has its own jobs and its own hot folder and its own profiles and so on. And I want to manage, meaning starting and stopping these server from my pdfaPilot desktop. And that is something Mark is going to show you right now. We have actually set up two pdfaPilots here. One is on my Mac here, and that is already open. And the other one is in my Windows image in the background. Yes.
Yeah, maybe down in the cellar at the server room, we have running our Windows server, which is doing all the jobs, where we have set up some hot folders and all that. So just clicking away the windows and making a little bit space here for me. So here's my Windows server. With pdfaPilot, we integrated the server UI, which you might know from pdfaPilot 3 into the pdfaPilot 4 standalone version. So you can access the server with the standalone version. So here is the server. We have embedded also some kind of access key, because like I will show you in a minute, you can access server configuration via the network. So we introduced some kind of not very well encrypted, but there's a kind of access key.
So I can protect my pdfaPilot server.
Yeah, because it can be accessed by any pdfaPilot application within the company network. So now the local server is active. I'm unlocking it with the access key I just explained, and then I have here my hot folder jobs, which are here named in German, convert to pdfa1b. So oops, the window goes there. There we have simply the profile, which shall be performed, in this case pdfa1b, the in folder, success, error, processed folder. Also, if I want report, I can choose it here. HTML.
But this is local, huh? It's not in the network.
This is local on the Windows machine, which I have in my server room. So, and then let's say this one is running and everything is fine. And now I'm sitting upstairs in my office with my Mac. I have a Mac in my office, and now I want to configure something on my server down in the server room. I don't want to go there. I simply use the normal standalone application, go to the server. No, I don't want to start a server because the server is already running. I want to connect with the remote server. So I must know the IP address, of course, to get connected to the server. I actually know the IP address, and so it's simply here on the Mac, connect with the IP in the server room, and say, whoops, it's coming up. The jobs are showing which are running on this respective server remote on my Windows machine. Request for the access code, which I have not entered, and so I'm now here on my machine.
Can I also see what files are being processed?
Yeah, you can also see which files are processed. We have here for this server show the process list, which all the files which are processed down in the Windows machine, also with the results, if there are fix-ups executed successful and all that, and also of course for the job which has been executed on the respective job. I can also add here new jobs. Simply say create new job. So I get the window again, say new job from my Mac. Say I want an additional job for maybe pdfa2b. So now I have to enter, of course, the paths in the view which my Windows machine has downstairs. I cannot access the file system there, of course, which is simply a limitation over the network. Simply say in, simply say success, simply say error, and final where the processed files have to be stored. And also say here I want an XML report,
Mm-hmm.
and then I simply say, I hope I did not make something wrong, and then I can also start it here.
Okay.
Now you can say, well, is it really processing? There we can have a quick look on the Windows machine. It's great, it's my Windows machine, where we can see also the job here now, my job from my Mac. And let's see, go to the file system, we remember it. It is simply a hot folder also on my Windows machine. So Dietrich, you want to see something?
Yeah, okay.
So
okay, here are the folders.
Here are the folders which I
Right.
just entered.
Okay, great.
So I can also go back to my Mac machine, and say simply,
Stop.
yeah, stop the server running maybe. So it will be also, can also stop it from my Mac machine here at the top. I cannot start it, of course, because it's not listening for anything when it's stopped.
Okay.
So here's also the error and will disappear.
It stopped, yeah.
Because it stopped, yeah.
Okay.
So you can remotely access any server.
Right. As we have seen, we have the folders here on the remote servers, and this is something different. So before here that we have seen before, we have the folders over here on the servers, but now we want to enter into a different scenario, and here we are doing load balancing. We are not having servers, so we have what we call satellites. And the satellites are connected with something that we call dispatcher. And the dispatcher would have the folders on its machine or wherever, and it would just transfer the files and the profiles, so the execution rules, if you want, over the network to the satellites. Satellites would process and transfer back into the dispatcher, and dispatcher would put it into the folders. So dispatcher would not process any PDF files itself. It would just distribute the work in the network. And that will Mark show you.
Yeah, in this case, I'm starting dispatcher here on my Mac machine. So I also go here to server and say...
You would also start the server, right?
Yeah, I will also start the server, but not starting the server, but start as a dispatcher, because I have the hot folders configured, also access key request here, to protect the processing, and I have unlocking it. And so I have here on my local machine a normal job configuration where I have, say, convert to PDF A1B, there I have a hot folder on my desktop with the similar settings like we had seen in the other jobs. And yeah, start the job. Job is running.
It would not process now because there are no satellites.
Exactly. I could put some files into it. Where we go? Find it. So where desktop? There we have the hot folder processing here, and I have here some PDF files which shall be converted and dropping it into the in folder. And as we can see, they are in the in folder, but nothing happens because I have no satellite, because the dispatcher is only processing files when they somewhere on a satellite in the network. So what to do? I'm simply going back to my Windows, or every other machine, can also be Linux or Solaris or whatever, and simply
or another Mac.
Or another Mac, of course, simply no problem. So I'm starting now the dispatcher from my Windows, on my Windows machine. I simply have to connect this satellite with the dispatcher, because the satellite is a little bit, not so intelligent. He has to know where to get his jobs from. So I simply started. Satellite is running, and go back to my Windows machine. And see,
we have one satellite.
We have one satellite, and we just see here two files are just processed.
Process list.
You can see the process list, and show process list, and there we have,
yeah.
we have some more because we have done this in German tomorrow,
right.
just before, but you see the files are here, processed via the network, and if we go to the success folder, they hopefully will be, as you see, just be processed in the same minute.
Okay, great.
That's the magic behind distributed processing. Okay.
Great, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're done with that, and we're entering into the final topic that we have, and this is process plans. Process plans is yeah. Okay, let's just do that. So we can get ready with that one. So we go back to the profile window in pdfaPilot. Okay, I want to do that on a Windows machine. So go here, and then go here. Don't need that one. I need my desktop and my webinar folder, and here are my files. So
sorry,
there are the process plans, and yeah, I just want to show you. This is a PDF file, of course, as you can see, and these are my profiles here. I can open that over this menu item, and this is a PDF A2B file. I can click on that file, on this button here, in order to verify, and it tells me yes, it's indeed PDF A2B. And then I have the profiles here, and I can start the verification and validation from here on, but I can also do a conversion from here. And then if I'm clicking on Analyze and Fix, it asks me where to save the results, and I'm saving that into my results folder, and it's overwriting a previous result, and then it has actually performed some more corrections. And that is actually a little bit of a shortcoming of the approach that we use. For performance reasons, we are always entering some corrections or applying some corrections, because checking for whether a correction would actually be applied would take more time than just going through that correction. So for some corrections, it's true that they would always be applied, even if there is no need for that. And this is true for the few corrections that you can see right here. And sometimes people say, okay, we don't want that. We want to make sure that corrections are only applied if it's not already a PDF-A file. And that is something that you can do with process plans. So I have previously created a process plan here, and that says it checks for PDF-A2B compliance and converts only if not compliant. And if I would do that one, I'm clicking again on Analyze and Fix here, it would just go through the PDF file. It wouldn't ask me where to save the result, because there is no result. It has just performed the checking right now, and it's done. So it has not modified the PDF file. So if we go back into the slides, we can say, okay, if you don't have a process plan, if you're using a regular profile, pdfaPilot would always use profiles when you convert to PDFA. It would, in a profile, it would first apply all corrections, and it would then check according to the rules, and it would then display the results. And for PDFA, that means it would first do all the PDFA corrections, and then it would check for compliance with PDFA, and then it would display the results. And with a process plan, I can define the order in which that takes place. And that, again, we are doing with an example. So we're going into the profile, the process plan that I have created before, and then there is this edit button here, and if I click on that one, it shows me the dialog for editing process plans. And this process plan has actually two steps. The first verifies for compliance with pdfaPilot, and on error, on warning, and on info. So if there is any hit, it would continue with the next step. Otherwise, if there is success, no hit, it would just exit. So next step would be conversion, and it would only enter into the conversion if there is a hit in the PDF file. And so just in order to show you how that can be edited and adjusted, I may want to add an additional correction. So I click on Fix Up over here and click on Add. It has now added a new step, and then I would want to do that step as a first step in my process plan. And this first step in this example should convert the file to grayscale. So this is a list, complete list of all corrections that are currently configured. And by simply entering something into the search field here, I can see all the corrections that use the word gray in their name, and then I have selected convert to grayscale, and then simply I have said, okay, continue with next step, and I'm saving this result, so this modified process plan, and I'm going back to my original file. And if I now use this modified process plan, and again saving the result into the results folder, it first converts all the blue to gray in this file, so to grayscale, and then it checks for compliance with pdfaPilot. It finds no problem, and it exits the process plan. So again, content has to be converted to gray, but that hasn't created any objects that wouldn't be compliant with pdfaPilot. So the result is still compliant, and therefore no conversion is needed. And that we go back, and that is exactly what I've written here. So we have created a process plan. It first converts to black and white, and then it analyzes for PFA. If not PFA, in this case we haven't created a report, and convert to PFA. But if compliant with PFA, just end. So this is a simple process plan that we have created. There are more process plans, predefined process plans here in the new group that we have introduced with pdfaPilot for process plans, and that, I don't know, for instance, that one can split a PDF file in the middle and impose as a brochure and more such stuff. So we don't want to go to further detail with respect to process plans because we are at the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for being with us here for 1 hour. I hope you have enjoyed the webinar, have learned something. Thanks from my side, and hope to be with you somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate. You see our email address or support@colorsoftware.com. We will be glad to assist you in any kind of implementation, or if you have any more questions to PFA or other things, which embedding or distributed processing, whatever.
Thanks. And we will be here for, I don't know if there are any further questions. We will be in the questions area, so just keep asking. Goodbye.